Over the last 2 weeks, George Pickens has found himself at the center of outside criticism. Questions have surfaced regarding his production, effort, and overall impact on the field. For a wide receiver in the spotlight, scrutiny often follows any dip in numbers. Pickens, however, remains largely unfazed by the external chatter. He understands that attention comes with expectations at the NFL level, and he has heard this kind of noise before. The Cowboys receiver acknowledged the criticism without sounding defensive. Instead, he described it as something that has become repetitive. From his perspective, the cycle of praise and doubt is familiar territory. Pickens has dealt with similar narratives throughout his career. Each time, he has responded by staying focused on his role. Football, for him, remains the priority. When asked if it felt like people were waiting for a bad game, Pickens was candid. "That's definitely what it felt like," he said. But he quickly made it clear he would not dwell on it. He emphasized that everyone involved in the sport has a role to play. Some contribute on the field. Others analyze, critique, and question. Pickens recognizes that criticism is part of the business. He understands that media narratives drive engagement. Clicks, reactions, and debates fuel the modern sports cycle. Yet he refuses to let that affect his mindset. His focus remains internal, on preparation and execution. "I'm just here to play football," Pickens said. That simple statement summarizes his approach. Helping the team win is his only concern. Everything else is background noise, and he intends to keep it that way, no matter the headlines. Performance context and statistical reality. Statistically, Pickens' recent output has raised eyebrows. Over the last 2 games, he recorded 8 receptions for 70 yards. Those numbers fall below his usual standards. They also contrast sharply with the rest of his 2025 season, a season in which he has been among the league's elite, and one defined by consistency. Through the bulk of the season, Pickens has been highly productive. He has accumulated 1,212 receiving yards. That total places him third in the entire NFL. Few receivers have matched his ability to stretch the field or create separation against top defenders. His resume speaks for itself. The recent dip, however, has sparked conversation. Critics have focused on box score production. They have questioned effort and engagement. But numbers rarely tell the full story, especially for a receiver facing schematic attention and defensive adjustments. Pickens views the situation through a broader lens. He does not see his impact limited to receptions alone. Route running, spacing, and coverage influence games. Even when targets are limited, offensive success often depends on unseen contributions. That reality is not always reflected statistically. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer echoed that perspective. He acknowledged that defenses have adjusted their approach. Pickens' presence changes how opponents play Dallas, and that alone holds value. Even when numbers dip, the offense adapts. For Pickens, the numbers remain secondary. Production ebbs and flows in the NFL. What matters is staying prepared and continuing to influence games in multiple ways. Trust in the process remains intact, despite outside perception, double coverage, and defensive adjustments. When asked directly about the drop in production, Pickens offered a clear explanation. "Double coverage," he said. To him, the answer is straightforward. Defenses have prioritized taking him away. That reality shapes the offense and dictates how plays unfold. According to Pickens, teams have consistently altered their coverage schemes. Safeties shade toward his side of the field. Corners receive inside and outside help. And underneath defenders clog passing lanes. The goal is clear. Limit his opportunities. This is not new territory for Pickens. Throughout his career, defenses have adjusted to him. But the current approach has become more extreme. Teams are dedicating multiple defenders, sometimes on one side of the field entirely. That level of attention is significant. Pickens detailed how defenses structure these looks. A defender inside, another outside, or a safety over the top with help underneath. It creates tight windows and forces quarterbacks to look elsewhere. By design, while that limits his targets, it opens opportunities for teammates. Pickens recognizes that dynamic, and he embraces it. Football is a collective effort, not an individual showcase. Even for star receivers, defensive adjustments are a sign of respect. They acknowledge his ability to change games. And while they affect his stat line, they benefit the offense. Pickens understands that balance and accepts it as part of his role. Teammates stepping up, One of the reasons defenses can focus on Pickens is the talent around him. CeeDee Lamb has been playing at an elite level. Ryan Flournoy has also emerged as a reliable option. Their success forces defenses into difficult choices. Cover everyone, or prioritize the biggest threat. Often, they choose Pickens. Pickens spoke highly of his teammates' performances. He expressed pride in their development and appreciation for their contributions. When others are producing, the offense thrives. Even if his own numbers fluctuate, winning remains the goal. The Cowboys' offensive balance has improved. Multiple receivers demand attention. That creates spacing across the field and stresses defensive schemes. Pickens' presence amplifies that effect, whether targeted or not. From a strategic standpoint, this balance is valuable. Defenses cannot key in on one player exclusively, at least not without consequences. If they do, others capitalize. That dynamic keeps the offense unpredictable and dangerous. Pickens understands the bigger picture. His role extends beyond individual production. Drawing coverage creates opportunities and helps the unit function efficiently. He embraces that responsibility without complaint. In many ways, this is a compliment. Defenses acknowledge his impact. They adjust accordingly, and that adjustment shapes game plans. Pickens remains comfortable with that reality, focused on team success. Despite the challenges, Pickens remains confident in the offense's ability to adjust. He outlined simple solutions when facing heavy coverage. Sometimes, he said, the answer is not complex. Running the ball can be effective, especially when defenses spread themselves thin. Adjustments are situational. When defenses deploy scattered coverages, opportunities emerge. Boxes can lighten, running lanes open, and patience becomes crucial. Pickens sees these patterns clearly. From his vantage point, he also described specific coverage indicators. When safeties roll down into the box, and corners press with single high looks, passing opportunities arise. Recognizing those moments is key. Execution follows recognition. Offensively, the Cowboys emphasize adaptability. Play calling responds to defensive looks. Personnel movement creates mismatches, and timing becomes essential. Pickens trusts that process. And the coaching staff. Moving receivers around is another adjustment. Shifts and motion force defenses to communicate. They reveal intentions pre-snap and create leverage post-snap. Pickens is comfortable in multiple alignments. That flexibility matters. Ultimately, Pickens believes solutions exist. Double coverage is not unbeatable. It simply requires discipline and collective execution. The Cowboys are committed to that approach. As the season progresses, preparing for the Chargers. The next test comes against the Los Angeles Chargers, a defense known for versatility and physicality. Pickens has spent time studying their film, and their movement patterns have stood out. The challenge will be significant. Preparation is critical. Pickens described the Chargers' defense as physical. They move pieces around frequently, disguising coverage and pressure. That complexity demands sharp execution and quick decision-making. From the offense, one player in particular caught Pickens' attention: Derwin James. The veteran safety often plays near the box, especially later in his career. His versatility complicates reads and spacing. The Cowboys are preparing accordingly. Filling voids becomes a priority. Routes must be run with speed and precision. Timing between quarterback and receiver is crucial. Every step matters. Against a defense like this, film study plays a major role this week. Identifying tendencies, recognizing pressure looks, and anticipating rotations. Pickens takes that process seriously. Preparation fuels confidence. Facing a defense like the Chargers tests discipline. Mistakes are punished quickly, but opportunities exist. Pickens remains focused on execution, trusting preparation, and staying ready. Leadership and mindset. Throughout the criticism, Pickens' mindset has remained steady. He does not shy away from accountability, nor does he internalize external narratives. His approach is rooted in routine, preparation, practice, performance. Day by day, that mentality aligns with the Cowboys' culture. Players are encouraged to focus inward, control what can be controlled, and ignore distractions. Pickens exemplifies that approach. Despite the spotlight, his comments reflect maturity, acknowledging criticism without bitterness, understanding the business aspect of football, and maintaining perspective. These traits matter, especially in high-pressure environments. Pickens knows expectations come with production. High standards accompany elite performance. and scrutiny increases accordingly. He accepts that responsibility, without deflection or complaint. Leadership does not always require vocal presence. Sometimes it is shown through consistency and composure. Pickens' response sends a message: stay focused and keep working. In a league defined by narratives, Pickens remains grounded. Football remains his priority, not headlines, not speculation. That clarity shapes his approach. Every week, contract questions loom. Beyond on-field performance, future questions remain. Pickens is in the final year of his rookie contract. Decisions await once the season concludes. Dallas must evaluate its options: extension or franchise tag. Both are possibilities. Pickens was asked about his contractual future. His response remained measured. He did not speculate, nor did he apply pressure. Instead, he emphasized patience and focus. "All I can do is keep one day forward," he said. That mindset reflects his broader approach. He is focused on the present, not negotiations, not hypotheticals, just football. From the Cowboys' perspective, evaluation continues. Performance, consistency, and impact matter. So does fit within the long-term vision. Pickens' production speaks loudly, but decisions take time and context. Contract discussions often create distractions. Pickens appears intent on avoiding them, letting play speak instead. That approach aligns with his philosophy: control effort, let outcomes follow. As the season winds down, these questions will grow louder. For now, Pickens keeps his focus narrow. One practice, one game, one opportunity at a time. Despite recent scrutiny, Pickens remains confident, not in a boastful sense, but in preparation and process. He trusts his ability and his understanding of the game. That confidence is earned. Double coverage is not discouraging. It is confirmation. Defenses acknowledge his threat and adjust accordingly. Pickens embraces that challenge, rather than resisting it. Confidence also comes from experience. Pickens has seen similar stretches before. Production fluctuates. Narratives shift, but fundamentals remain constant. He leans on those fundamentals. The Cowboys share that confidence. They trust their offensive structure, their personnel, and their adaptability. Pickens is central to that belief. Even when not targeted heavily, adjustments are ongoing. Game plans evolve weekly. Defenses change approaches. Offenses respond. That chess match defines the NFL. Pickens enjoys that complexity. In the end, confidence fuels resilience. Criticism loses power. Focus sharpens. And performance follows preparation. Pickens embodies that mindset. As the season progresses, moving forward, as the Cowboys prepare for the next challenge, Pickens remains locked in. External criticism continues, but it does not dictate his approach. His focus stays on football, on execution, and on helping the team win. The season's final stretch demands consistency, attention to detail, and adaptability. Pickens understands what is required. He has embraced the challenge, rather than shying away from it. Production will fluctuate. Defenses will adjust. Narratives will shift. But effort and preparation remain constant. Pickens' mindset reflects that reality. Week after week. For Dallas, his presence still matters greatly. Whether drawing coverage or making key plays, Pickens influences outcomes. Sometimes visibly, sometimes quietly. Contract questions will come later. Criticism may persist, but the focus remains the same. One day forward, one game at a time. That is George Pickens' approach. And as long as that remains true, the noise will stay where it belongs. Outside the locker room, outside the huddle, far from the field, where Pickens plays football.